By the end of this effect, your audience will be convinced you just hacked reality itself. And it's an absolute breeze to perform. It works with any shuffled deck and contains no tricky moves. So grab a deck, hit subscribe for more confidence building tutorials, and let's jump in to the impossible. Okay, so as ever, let's kickstart by taking a look at the effect itself, and we're going to start with a shuffled deck. So just hand the cards to a spectator. They can shuffle those as much as they like. The cards really are mixed. With the cards shuffled, you're just going to take the deck with a view to removing a prediction card. Now, actually, you can explain that you're going to remove 2 cards, as you can never quite be sure, and it's always good to have a backup. So let's see, just 1 card just there, and 1 more. Okay, maybe this card just here. And you can place these 2 cards on the side where they will stay. We now want the spectator to make a totally random selection. So the first thing we're going to do is ask them to take the deck here and just cut it into approximately 2 halves, whatever they like, but try to get it as close as possible. So let's say they cut the cards just there. You're now going to ask the spectator to select one of these halves, and it's a totally free choice. They can select either half. Let's say they select this half just here. You're going to ask them to take these cards and just give them a shuffle. They can shuffle them as much as they like until they're happy they really are mixed. They can even give the cards some cuts, and they can cut the cards as many times as they like. With the cards truly mixed, you're now going to turn away so that you can't see anything. And you're just going to ask the spectator to take their selected half here and just to silently count the number of cards. So in this instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 cards. You're now going to explain to the spectator that we want to make things as random as possible. So you're going to ask them to take the number they've just counted and to add the 2 digits together in order to generate a brand new number. So in this instance, they'll take the number 23, add 2 and 3 together in order to get 5. Now make sure they don't tell you their number. You're now going to ask the spectator to use that number in order to generate a totally random card. So you're going to ask them to take their selected half here, and from the bottom of the pack to count to the card at the position corresponding to their secret number. So in this instance, they'll count to the 5th card, and they'll remember this as their selection. So with yourself still looking away so that you can't see anything, the spectator will take their half just here, and they'll count to the 5th card, again doing it silently so that you can't hear. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ask the spectator to remember this card, so here we can see the 4 of diamonds, and then to place the cards back together and back on the table. Finally, just ask them to place their half on top of the other half and to square up the cards. At this point, you can now turn back around and you can take the deck. At this point, you can just emphasize to the spectator that their selected card is totally random. There's absolutely no way that you could know their selected number, the identity of their card, or the position of that card. You can also remind the spectator of your prediction cards, which have been on the table from the very beginning. And you're now going to reveal these to the spectator. So you can turn over your first prediction card here, and you're going to ask the spectator whether their card is a 9. And obviously in this instance, they're going to say, no, it's not. And you can explain that's okay, because remember, we also have a backup prediction just here. So now you can reveal this prediction. And you can ask the spectator whether their card is an ace. And once again, in this instance, they're going to say that it's not. And here you're just going to point out that although you said we had a backup prediction, what you didn't explain is that we also have a backup of the backup. Because in this instance, maybe the prediction cards are working together. And rather than trying to tell us the identity of the selected card, maybe they're telling us the exact location of the card. And you're just going to point out that here we have a 1 and a 9, and we put those side by side and we get the number 19. You can also point out to the spectator that from a shuffled deck, they had a totally free choice of number and selection of card. You're now going to take the deck and count down to your prediction number, which you made before the trick had even begun, in this instance, the 19th card. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Placing the final card to the side. For the very first time, you can now ask the spectator to name their selected card. Of course, in this instance, it was the 4 of diamonds. And now you can reveal that this card right here just happens to be the 4 of diamonds. Okay, so let's take a look at the secret to this effect. Now, this is basically a well-disguised version of the 10 to 20 force, and we really do start with a shuffled deck, so hand the cards to a spectator. They really can shuffle those as much as they like. Now, you're just going to take the deck with a view to removing a couple of prediction cards, and here you're always going to remove an ace and a 9. Any ace and 9 that you like, but you're just going to take those and place them onto the table. And with the prediction cards removed, you're just going to place those onto the side where they will stay. Now, you're just going to ask the spectator to cut the deck into approximately 2. It doesn't need to be precise, it really is a free choice, but ask them to try to get it as close as possible. So let's say they cut the cards just here. Now, for this trick to work, the selected pack will need to have between 20 and 29 cards. So if it looks as though the cutting is really uneven, you can just ask the spectator to even things up a bit. Ask the spectator now to select either of the halves, and this really is a totally free choice. Let's say they select this half just here. Ask the spectator to take their half, and they can shuffle these cards and cut the cards as much as they like. Once they're happy things really are mixed with yourself looking away, ask the spectator just to take the selected half and to count the number of cards. So in this instance, 1, 2, 3, 24, 25. Ask the spectator now to add the 2 digits of that number together in order to get a new number. So in this instance, that's 2 and 5 equals 7. You'll now ask the spectator to take their selected half and to remember the card at that position from the bottom of the pack. So in this case, they're going to remember the 7th card from the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They'll remember this card just here, the 2 of diamonds. Now, it's important to emphasize to the spectator they don't change the order of the cards during this counting, and once they've remembered that card, they can just place the cards back together. Finally, ask them just to place their selected half on top of the remaining half. Now, at the end of that, due to the simple maths involved, the spectator's selected card will always be the 19th card from the top. And at this point, if you like, you can just perform some full shuffles or cuts of your choice, just to make it look as though things really are mixed. You're now ready to reveal your prediction cards, and these will obviously be the 9 and the ace that you removed at the beginning. Now, you can make up some patter of your choice here depending on whether any of these cards match the value of the selected card. But finally, you're going to point out that the 1 and the 9 side by side equate to 19. And you'll now just simply deal down to the 19th card in the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 18, 19, placing the final card to the side. And all that's left to do now is to ask the spectator to name their selected card, and you can reveal that that is indeed this card right here, in this instance, the 2 of diamonds. And there you have it. Remember, the right mindset can turn a simple trick into real magic. Approach life with the same curiosity and belief, and you'll be unstoppable. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep the magic alive.